Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4 Kaiserreich as the Netherlands. Let's continue on from where we last left off. So, I didn't realize my mic was muted. We've only like 20 seconds has passed, but you know, this time I fixed that issue. So, the Tujardo petition. A petition has been passed, so the Volksraad has arrived on the desk of Prime Minister Coalition. Having been sent to us by Governor General Bontificus de Jong, apparently the petition calls for the Congress to speak about the future of the status of the duchy's innings within the kingdom. The Volksraad has already moved all time limits, the original proposal included, so the Prime Minister made his choice already when I went to handle it in the House of Representatives. Somewhere in the next year sounds good. The Flemish resistance calls for aid. Back to the corner by spurious Flemish Walloon force, the remnants of the Flemish resistance have contacted us to request intervention in the Second Belgian Revolution. They are willing to support reunification with the Netherlands should we assist them, and are hoping for a peaceful resolution to the conflict through our influence. We can stay out of the affairs. But on the other hand, I'm kind of curious to see what happens when we do it this way. Walloon has joined the Reichspact. Poland has elected a new king. So you're in the No, you're not in a faction. You're in the Reichspact. I have no idea how necessarily this is going to play out. It might play out extremely bad. But we'll see. Are you... Wait, it looks like you're allied to me. Are we allies? Are we in a faction together? No, you're my puppet. This could end up being really, really bad. If Germany... Okay. German ultimatum. Unhappy with our recent expansion into their territory, the Reichs has given us a chance to right our supposed fault and join the Reichspact alliance. They strongly insist that this will be in a request results in an immediate declaration of war, for which we are not at all prepared. Of course we'll join the Reichspact. That's kind of what I wanted to do in the first place. So there we go. We're in the Reichspact now. Will Flanders join me? I think so. United Netherlands. It's a subject of other Netherlands. Yeah, you should join up with us. Thank you very much. It seems like this plan went exactly as well as it could have gone. It does give us a direct border with the International, which actually might be a bit of a problem, but we'll see. The rise of the radical left. After SDAP co-founder PJ Troslata board of attempt to founding a Dutch Republic in 1918 and a non-committal response by the party's moderate wing, the more radical revolutionary Netherlands have abandoned the Social Democrats in order to pursue their hopes of overthrowing the old system in a more like-minded company. The SDAP's slight drifts rightwards has only emboldened the radical counterparts in the Revolutionary Socialist the party, the RSAP, a relatively small party in parliament that sees itself as their successors, working within the system to overthrow it. Even further to the left and outside the realm of conventional parliamentary politics, the NAS is a primarily syndicalist labor organization in the Netherlands, seeking to replace the old system in its entirety and restructure it according to the French model, with tacit support from Paris. In many ways similar, the Council Communists and their election boycotting the KAPD rally behind the astronomer and Marxist theorist Anton Pannekoek. There are even some whom the syndicalist council communist approach is too conservative. The Patron, the authoritarian socialist led by David Winchcoop and Paul de Groot, see themselves the guardians of the revolution, claiming to intend to keep it away from tendencies of falling into new elitism. Many of the ideas are consistent with the ideology of the International, recently codified as vanguardism. With all these factions vying for a chance to leave their own mark in the history of the Netherlands, the parliamentary democratic system is well and truly under siege from the left. So we're losing another 7.5% stability. I mean, stability right now is not going great. I will admit we're only at 20%. Decisions available. We can join the Kaiser Wilhelm Society. It looks like it's free, so I'll definitely take it. But the fact that we don't have to worry about joining the Reichspact is fine. I mean, I had no problems joining your faction. And let's see, like, how long? Yeah, you do all of this nonsense for me to annex you. I wish I could just annex you right now. Because I would like to annex you, like, right now. Formation of the Christian National Alliance. For decades, the Dutch parliament has been dominated by various religious parties. The Calvinist ARP and CHU and the Catholic RKSP have held a convincing majority of the government and has been the source of almost all ministerial appointments. However, they can no longer count on the unconditional and unwavering support of the relative pillars. While still dominant in their own spheres, they're losing ground to the far left and far right fringe elements. And even among the moderate audience, the pull of the left liberals and the Social Democrats is growing. With each of these parties bleeding votes, and despite these pillars' strict separation in daily life, they're now attempting to cash in on their decades-long cooperation by erasing their own party lines. The formation of the Christian National Alliance, or the CNA, is likely going to cost them more votes in the long run, but the consolidation of parliamentary seats and popular support makes the CNA a political juggernaut that dwarfs all other parties. Time will tell whether this will be enough to counteract the increasing erosion of the voter base, or whether the primacy of God in politics is coming to an end. So social conservatives are now known as the CNA. Yeah, so if we can have a CNA VHN coalition or a VHN CNA coalition, both of those work out quite well for us. Even though they only have 5% of the seats. I mean, that's 59% in total. I still think that's pretty good. So we'll kind of see how that goes. Student available. UR stability for... I mean, stability would be nice, but I'm going to take a guess that we're going to be taking a lot more stability hits in the future. So I'm just not going to necessarily worry about it too much. Or the dictatorship exist. I mean, the dictatorship wouldn't be a bad thing in total. Order restored in Flanders. While Flanders still labors under Dutch control, the Flemish military has asserted enough control over its own borders that a semblance of autonomy is now possible. This is not independence, far from it, but it does mean that they no longer have to rely on Dutch troops to secure their borders, and are thus not so tightly under our control. They're no longer an occupied puppet. They are just a normal puppet. But Flanders, this whole agreement was based on you joining my country. And if you don't join my country, I'm going to be very, very upset. Queen's Day. It's the Queen's birthday and thus a national holiday. People across the country are celebrating the monarchy, but surely also what it means to be Dutch. As usual, Queen Wilhelmina and the rest of the royal family are not taking part in the public festivities due to the need to maintain her royal dignity. Still, thousands of well-wishers are gathered outside the palace with flags crying out with joy. Take the 20 political power. Still don't have enough to change our economy, which sucks because I really wish it could. Organization goes up. Organization going up would be nice. But I think just a 10% attack is usually like pretty good. And Poland's actually joined the Reichspact as well. So the Reichspact right now is looking pretty good, I would say. You're banning the Syndicalists, which is great. I think all of you guys are kind of doing stuff that at least keeps you within the Reichspact sphere, and you're not going to leave it, which is nice. What are you guys doing in the north? You are liberal, so we don't know exactly which way you're going to swing in the future. You look like you are probably going to be joining up the Reichspact at some point. Sweden might end up joining the Reichspact as well. But I mean, the election hasn't happened quite yet, so we'll kind of see after their election which way they want to swing. Hopefully Sweden and Finland don't go to war this time, if we're lucky. The Jordan district of Amsterdam, traditionally a socialist stronghold, has erupted into violence. Dissatisfaction with the inadequate unemployment provisions provided by the current government have likely, after prodding and agitation by syndicalist or council communist organizations, boiled over into public protest. The protest turned into a riot of several groups of young men in black uniforms, appeared out of the alleyways and descended upon the crowd with clubs, bricks, and broken bottles. With the police unable to restore order, the mayor was forced to call in several army units to disperse the crowds. So look at that. Ooh, another stability loss. Fantastic. But at least we are now gaining a weekly percent of 1. So given enough time, we might be able to store this slightly. And we have one more division. Fantastic. We'll just assign you over to the naval invasion order. So if you're going to send a full 10 stack into here, take control of East Anglia. We'll have a pretty nice foothold to kind of push our way through the British Isles. We do need more, yeah, there's more military factories. More factories, please. As many as you can possibly get your hands on. So we have finished your technology. Colonial submarines or O-class submarines? Stealthy and hard to be able to compete. Yeah, no, we definitely don't want far range. We really, like, I don't care about the Dutch Indies that much. They got a lot of oil and stuff, which is nice. But they're not super important. At least not right now. Mobile army. We'll go for you, because I think it makes sense. And we will then go for... I mean, in September, you're a little bit ahead of time, but I still think I'm going to take these industry techs for right now. And with 4 more free dockyards, hey, Throw that straight into more submarines, please, and thank you. The formation of the Landwacht. In the wake of the Jordan riot, the police very rapidly found out that the black shirt youths were laying in the crowd of the protesters, and who disappeared the moment the soldiers turned up, were more than just a random thugs. These figures represented the first public appearance of the Landwacht, a paramilitary organization set up by the VNH, supposedly led directly by Cornelius von Gelskeren himself. Since the Jordan, the Landwacht has propped up all over the country, standing watch at VNH rallies and assemblies, disrupting meetings of left-wing organizations, and occasionally fighting in the streets against their syndicalist counterparts, the National Road Front or Red Front. Disciplined militaristic marches through the streets of major cities draw large crowds and drum up more recruits, especially among the youth. The Landwacht is rapidly becoming a force to be reckoned with, and their numbers are still expanding. It's unlikely they'll stay silent during the elections. So another 2% stability loss. Just stability loss, stability loss, stability loss, stability loss, just over and over and over again. Oh yeah, and I can also upgrade you, right? Yeah, go for that offensive doctrine, please, and thank you. Do I actually have any guys that could get a skill? Because you're, right now, 2211. 4 in attack upgrades. 2212, 2122. I mean, you are an infantry leader. So it kind of makes sense that we probably want to keep you around. And are the bicycle units actually any good? I don't really know. It'll increase the mobility of our army, apparently, so that seems good. The liberal crisis. Liberalism in the Netherlands is under siege. The largest liberal party, the traditional LSP, has been steadily losing ground over recent years. Many members, disillusioned with the perceived failures of the old system, are being drawn into the radical nationalists of the VNH, and are now also the promise of a large power bloc like the CNA. This has led the left-leaning VDB to becoming the largest liberal party in the country, and they're losing members at a much slower rate. Although there's still little likelihood of them winning the election this year. Is it this year? This says May. May is next year. Anyways, although there's little likelihood of them winning the election this year, there's still a hope that the LSP that they can portray themselves as a credible moderate alternative to the conservative and increasingly authoritarian CNA. And another 2% stability loss for us. So stability being at 12%, or 15% I should say, isn't great. It is affecting factory output by quite a bit. Political power gain, organization going down by 6.9%. Nice. All of those really aren't fantastic, which I don't think I need to make clear. Yes, there we go. We got a full 10 stack ready to invade at a moment's notice. What equipment do we have right now? We have 133 rifles, 98 artillery, so I think we'll train up like 2 more of you. And we'll probably call that a day. I might send these 2 units to a front down here. When they deploy, of course. The leash links the VDB-SDAP electoral pact. The formation of an overwhelmingly powerful right-wing CNA sends shockwaves through Parliament and society alike. As expected, it is proving an unpopular move of many of the more devout believers who have jumped ships to the smaller religious opposition parties, and many fringe political commentators decry it as either being a desperate act to gain absolute power or the last gasp of a dying system. Still, the CNA enjoys a comfortable majority of public support. In response to the change, the moderate opposition parties have been performing maneuvers of their own. The SDP, despite slowly losing members to the radicals, is still the largest political party outside of the CNA itself, and the VDB has been significantly strengthened by becoming the primary focus of liberal politics. But neither is large enough to take the CNA head-on. As such, in order to safeguard the ideas of liberalism, social democracy, and the moderate left in general, the VDB and the SDAP have announced their cooperation in the coming elections. Together, the parties may not be as huge as the CNA, but they have the benefit of solid foundation, while the CNA is still bleeding votes. Despite both being left-wing parties, their viewpoints are too far apart to truly merge as the CNA have done, but this left list still offers the possibility of a moderate victory at the ballot box, providing an alternative to the ungainly right-wing bloc that is the CNA, which is shrinking by the day. And fringe organizations like the VNH and the Patreon? Who are the Patreon? They are I mean, I guess they're probably maybe that's not even listed in here. But they have 26% of the vote, which is not a ton. Because, I mean, just as the NA right now, they have 54% support, but I guess that could change once the elections actually happen. Destroy all coastal defense ships. Do I, like, again, do I have any? Like, combine these guys up. You're light. I mean, they might be these light ships that they're talking about. But I don't think they make it super, super clear. Because is it a type of ship? Let me just go into research. Destroyers, cruisers, heavy ships, carriers, submarines. So they're not a type of ship. I assume they're just like the old Field Creek era ships. But that'll protect us against naval invasion, sure. But I don't think that's really what I'm too worried about, honestly. So I'm just going to click this button, because, like, just don't tell me about that anymore. I really don't think I'm too interested in it. QB Long has been elected to President of the United States, so that basically guarantees a four-way civil war. Which we probably do want to support the American Union State, because they're the side that are more likely to join up with the Reichspact. Which, of course, would be nice for us, which I don't think I need to, I see, you know what, I don't need to send troops to the French border. Because, my allies down here have that kind of completely under control, so I'm just going to have a fallback line here. Just to send more troops to England when the time comes. We still got about, 3 years till the war begins. There is still theoretically chances that it could fire a little bit earlier. It could be a war over Switzerland, for example, or... What other things could affect it? I think when Germany bans the French organizations, that could also be conflict for war, but that doesn't usually happen so often. But Norway has joined the Syndicalists, which I am not too surprised about. Sweden did go Social Democratic, and they've gone for the forced abdication. So we'll see if they join up with the Internationale, or if there is a military coup, which will make Sweden join up with the Reichspact. We definitely want that alternative. We don't want Sweden becoming a Syndicalist, because it makes our job a little bit more difficult, because it will create a front line with Copenhagen. I mean, they are Social Democratic, so there's a chance that Denmark doesn't join the war. But we'll kind of see. Now that you have finished, we still have a few more months until the election. Let's see what the bicycles are, and if they're actually any good or not. Because we probably want at least a handful of them for quick maneuvers around England when the time comes. So what are you going to do? You have a few more days. Again, we really want that, the coup. I think the coup fires no matter what. We just don't want the Syndicalist counter coup. Okay. And I don't think we want to do this. I don't think we want public support. We'll go for war propaganda if it becomes available. But I don't think it will. Political power gain. Mobilization speed is pretty slow. Well, that's all kind of okay. Yes, okay. So here's the coup. We will see if you guys stay as national or personal autocrat, or if you switch back to being a syndicalist. I don't remember how long that takes. You know what? Don't import the one single rubber. Probably not worth it. Import more steel from the United States. Make our submarine fleet a little bit larger. What are you going to do? Because this... Return of the King. I think if they do this one, then they've succeeded. The death of von Giebland Osthoff. The leader of the ultranationalist VHN, Van Giebland Osterhoff, died today in his home in Amsterdam. His last few years have seen rapid rise in the forces of VNH, brought on by the economic struggles facing the country, fear of syndicalism, and the disillusionment with democracy. However, the party he leaves behind is highly divided itself between the young, newer members of the party, led by Cornelius, and the older, more established segment, possessed ties to the Dutch military and bureaucratic hands of HNA Start. Swart has been named the party leader, with Van Gilberken, his deputy, and a pair look to set a challenge the established parties for control of the Hague in the May election, provided the two wings can be working together. So which one... Who's in control of the ultranationalist then? Or the extremist? I'm not too sure. I imagine the youthful wing is probably the national populist, and the more militaristic wing is the paternal autocrats. That makes the most amount of sense to me. And it does look like you will be staying paternal autocrat. I hope. Again, I really hope. The marriage of Juliana. Today, Crown Princess Juliana is marrying her fiancé, the Prince Bernhard zu Lieben-Biesterfield. Be renaming himself von Liebes-Besterfield in Dutch style. The announcement alone had provoked a wave of happiness throughout the crisis-ridden Netherlands, and a ceremony certainly will do no less. The national feast will be sure to distract a bit from the current bad economic circumstances and forms a spot of hope for those in despair at the state of the country. 1 point, a little bit of stability, which is nice. We are actually still getting 0.9%, which is excellent. And Sweden declared war in Finland because of course. Why did they actually go to war? I wonder what event is actually firing between Finland and Sweden actually caused this event. But like, here's the weird thing: is that we want one side to win decisively. We don't want the same circumstance that we had last time, where Sweden and Finland fought for like 3 years or something like that. Yeah, I think they fought until 1941. We don't want a repeat of that. We want one side winning decisively. So, is there anything I can do to make that a reality? I mean, you have no planes. So I think we probably would want to back the Swedish. Makes the most amount of sense to me. But it's still a little bit strange, isn't it? We will go for the interwar artillery upgrade. Thank you. But the question is, like, do I want to send... I mean, I'll at least send air volunteers. We want to split you in half. And then put one plane back. And then crank you up to 200 seems okay. And fly you to here. I don't know how much of a difference this will actually make, but we'll just kind of see. We have 47 aircraft, including these 11, so we're at about 60 planes in total, which I admit isn't a ton. So we have about one more focus. Motorized cost goes down. What about warfare and doctrine and other research in that? Let's go for the O-class submarines next. Okay, so we can see there are Finnish troops here. A decent amount of Swedish troops. 821, 521. You're actually also completely even in terms of military count, which does worry me slightly. Because that kind of signifies that this war is going to be going on for a long, long time. But at least for right now, I think it's going to be a good time for us to end this episode. So thanks everybody for watching my Anthem. If you enjoyed, my thumbs up. Now, enjoy, close thumbs down. Or more, subscribe, and goodbye.